I'll tell you one thing that
Hey, when my girls start to trip and hate, before I skate, I call Sirius XM 98. Yeah, Thursdays the Foxxhole 7 to 9 to talk to ZoWilliams before I lose my mind. Yeah, I need advice on my relationship, cause I'm about to start breaking. I can't take it no more. I got to holler at Zo, the relationship pro. Before I pack up and go, I got my foot out the door and down for leaving. But first, let me holler at Zo, the voice of reason. I got my foot out the door and down for leaving. But first, let me holler at Zo, the voice of reason.
Ladies and gentlemen, another Thursday, another hot topic. Pull your trucks, pull your cars over. If you're already in your car, if you're already at home, send the kids to bed. We're about to get serious. We're about to get deep. Tonight's topic is an incredible one. 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. If you're at home, if you're near your computer, you got to get to your Twitter page. You got to go to ZoWilliams.com. Leave comments. On Twitter, I'm responding to all tweets, okay? At Foxxhole, Foxxhole, or you can hit me personally, my personal Twitter page, at ZoWilliams. Don't forget to go to ZoWilliams.com. That's my personal hub of information, my website. Get to the Facebook, get to all of it. We're going to reach out. But before we do, let me hit you in the dome piece with tonight's topic. It's a heater. It's one that's really, really deep. It's going to be funny. We got a lot of information about it. Listen to this, because it bothers a lot of people. A lot of people have issues with it. Is sex the problem in your relationship? An immersed look, a deep look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. I've talked to a lot of women who said, I'm just holding out until I meet Mr. Right. I'm just not going to do it. So we got all type of questions about celibacy, the different types of celibacy, and how sex can actually complicate your relationships. Can sex raise the stress level, or can sex lower the stress level? We got all types of sides covered here. Is sex the problem? An immersed look into the celibacy movement as a less complicated way of life. 855-369-9898. Get at me. Holler at me. I'm going to take a quick break, but when I come back, you know the routine. Questions. I'm going to hit you upside the dome piece. And when I return, we're going to start taking these callers. Ladies, fellas, everybody out there that's going through it, hit me. Let's talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Zomithi is rising. The voice of reason has returned to the Foxxhole. Tonight's topic, I'm telling you, it's a heater. It deals with one of our most basic primal urges. And I think a lot of times we don't know how to manage our urges. You know, I always talk about and I refer to a relationship toolbox. Well, guess what? Learning how to manage your basic primal instincts has to be in that toolbox, because a lot of times we're just a bag of jumbled hormones and we don't know how to respond. We even well into our 30s, we don't know how to deal with certain situations because we've never figured out how to manage different aspects of our lives. Primal urges, emotions, communication skills, listening skills. Tonight's topic is dealing with one of those issues, man. Sex. Can sex be the problem in your relationship? We're going to take a really deep, I said immersed look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. I mean, is it natural? Let's get to the questions. Can celibacy accelerate our spiritual growth? A lot of people out there seem to think it does and can. I don't know. I want to hear from you. 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. Which one has the most potential of being a prison for intimacy? Marriage/monogamy or celibacy? Very, very tough question. Can involuntary celibacy lead to depression? What is involuntary celibacy? They have a little nickname for that called incel. Look it up. Go to Google right now. I urge you, go to Google. Look up incel. I know what it is, but what they're basically saying is people are involuntarily celibate because they can't engage in, a sexual union with someone, or they just get to the point and then they don't follow through for some reason. Crazy, right? Involuntary celibacy. The research out there says it leads to depression. Crazy stuff. Does the practice of celibacy have any spiritual benefits? If so, what are they? And here's a cold one for women. Oh my God, a lot of women get sucked into this. And this right here is a man's willingness to practice celibacy, no matter how long his girlfriend / fiance wants to wait, proof that he's genuine. A lot of times the girls will be like, he waited a lot of girls got that 90-day rule, or some girls even have a 180-day rule or whatever. He waited, and because he waited, that means he's really into me. No, he's just a shark. I keep telling women, don't look for the behavioral confirmation. What is the behavioral confirmation? The confirmation of your idea or your belief. If he waited, that means he must be genuine. No, that's not true. We could just be waiting to get you. And then once we get you, we're done with you. 855-369-9898. Somebody call me right now. I need to hear from you. Is celibacy for single mothers the best demonstration of teaching their young boys how to respect women's bodies and young girls to respect their own? If you ain't got a man, if you're not married, is celibacy the best image to send to your kids instead of the revolving doors of failed relationship boyfriend? I don't know. 855-369-9898. Somebody call me right now. Is the celibate lifestyle becoming a more alluring option in the face of already climbing and staggering STD rates? A lot of women out there, men too, are choosing to be celibate, right? Because STDs are not playing. They're on the rise. Somebody tell me right now. I got to give you the phone number real quick, 855-369-9898. Go to ZoWilliams.com. Leave a comment, leave questions. We're going to get to you. I see the phone lines are lighting up like crazy. And if you're just tuning in, tonight's topic, let me hit you upside the dome piece one more time. Is sex the problem? An immersed look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. ZoWilliams.com, voice of reason. We're going to get this conversation started. I need to hear from you at 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. 855-FOX 9898, Sirius XM 98, the Foxxhole. Let me hit you upside the dome piece one more again. If two people don't have sex with each other before they marry, how are they able to determine if they are actually sexually compatible? Isn't a test drive in order? That's a hell of a question. If you don't do it before you get married, how you know it's going to be good? And then if you get married and it's whack, are you then stuck? 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. Hey, is it possible that people who have less sex spend more time getting ahead in life and becoming more successful? Somebody talk to me, 855-369-9898. I'm going to go to the callers right now. I got so many questions, so many good ones. But before I even get into it, I want to hear what the fans have to say about it, what the listeners want to talk about. And let's do it right now. We got Cloud from Buffalo. He says celibacy shouldn't be a lifestyle. Talk to me.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, Zoe? I think it should be, and I'm also speaking from personal experience too, I think it should be like a choice to kind of, get your stuff in order, or to kind of gather your thoughts, and also to be used for accelerated spiritual growth, because sometimes it does have those benefits. But as far as lifestyle, if you're going to give it up, give it up. If you're going to wait. But I don't think it's something that you should drag anybody into, because one thing I've learned is that with a man or a woman, if the only reason why, like, a lot of people, like, if they're promiscuous and stuff like that, is because they don't know what they like yet, or they don't know themselves enough to know that. But once you do, you won't accept anything less than what's going to please you or what's going to make you happy. And that's a lot of things. A lot of people don't know themselves. And so when you don't know yourself, you accept anything.
Wow.
Wow. So that was one of my things. And when I was celibate back in 2004, that was my way of teaching myself a lesson to kind of, know that I didn't have to go after anybody that gave me play, because like it was a result of me messing up my relationship through cheating. So I did that, and it helped me a great deal. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned not to put myself in certain situations. And so it does have its benefits, but it's not something that I think that people should just have as like a lifestyle, though. That's like everybody's own personal choice, and it goes for however long you may want to do it. It doesn't have to be for years, but if you feel that, then that's cool.
Right. Hey, how long, Cloud, were you celibate?
I shot for a year, but I cut it short after 9 months because I had a near-death experience, and I didn't want to die as a quote-unquote virgin. But by that time, I had learned my lesson, and I had learned my control and everything. So the lesson was learned.
Wow, good stuff, man. Good stuff. I appreciate the call. Thank you for reaching out. 855-369-9898 is the number to dial. Name 5 ways sex complicates or simplifies our relationship. The next caller, give me that. Name 5 ways sex can complicate or simplify our relationships. I'm going to Dave from Boston. Holler at me, brother.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. What's happening?
Well, I was responding to the celibacy question and the pretrial run, and I agree with the pretrial run.
Oh yeah, it says premarital sex is necessary. That's your opinion, right?
Absolutely, no question about it. If you're not compatible sexually, there's no way the relationship's going to work.
Wow, that's a good point, because sex is very important. Can you imagine not having sex and then getting married, and then say you want sex 4 or 5 times a week, and the girl you're with wants it once a week, only in one position, and you freak nasty? How's that gonna work? 855-369-9898. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Our Twitter response here at DeWolfer, DAWOOFER, at DeWolfer, says good sex can cloud good judgment. Is that true? 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. I want to hear from you. We talking about it. It's a tough subject, but let's go deeper. Let's go deeper into this. You've got pros and cons of everything, but this is what I always tell people. You gotta have a philosophy in place, especially with sex, especially with your drives, your urges. You have to understand your urges come from an old part of the brain, the oldest part of the brain. It's the limbic system. They call it the reptilian part of the brain. You've got new philosophers out there that'll call it the Luciferian principle, or, Freud called it the id. It doesn't care about anything but pleasure, right? And these are urges that don't rationalize, that don't think, that don't reflect. The higher part of the brain does that, the cerebral cortex, right? And then the frontal lobe. I keep telling you, humans, man, in a lot of ways, we behave like animals. And if we don't understand who we are, and we don't understand what our triggers are, what our stimulants are, if we don't understand our appetites, how can we be in effective, good, quality relationships? We need to understand the nature of sex and how it can control us if we are unaware of its workings. Somebody call me right now at 855-369-9898. Here we go. For the people that are pro-sex, here are 6 surprising benefits of sex. Number 1, it can boost your immune system. Cold and flu season is approaching, and yes, you've probably heard it a million times. Wash your hands often. But what they're now saying is, you can have a little sex and it'll raise the intensity of your immune system. I've heard this a lot of times. Researchers at Wilkes University in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, found that having sex once or twice a week boosts the immune system. They found a 30% increase in immunoglobulin, right? A proteins in people who had sex, once or twice a week compared to those who didn't have sex. So they're saying it can boost your immune system. But the Buddhist monk and the tantric people will say if you meditate, you could do the same thing without sex. I don't know. They say celibacy works just the same way. Somebody call me right now with a story with information that corroborates or debunks that. 855-369-9898. Here's another tip or another benefit of sex. It's a must-have for men's health. Men who have sex 3 or more times a week can cut their risk of suffering a heart attack and stroke in half, according to research out of Queen's University in Belfast. Beyond that, having sex regularly may protect men against prostate cancer. A National Cancer Institute survey of over 30,000 middle-aged men found that those who averaged, listen to this, 21 ejaculations a month showed a 33% lower risk of prostate cancer than those with 4 to 7. Somebody call me right now, 855-369-9898. Is sex the problem? A lot of times sex is the problem because we don't understand attachment. I keep telling you about the limbic system of the brain. The limbic system of the brain is the oldest part of the brain. They call it the reptilian brain. And that thing right there, urges. That's it. Pleasure, avoid pain. That's what it is. And a lot of times that little center is very, very difficult to reprogram. This is why when people get addicted to things and develop attachments to things, they develop them in that portion of the brain. So sex is one of those things where, oh God, did you see her? And everything just gets thrown off. Jesus Christ, did you see the monkey? My bad. I don't know. But, you know, we lose control, especially as men. And women get it too. And plus they get an emotional attachment to it as well. That's why the Buddhists who teach non-attachment can say, well, celibacy will work in this sense. I don't know. If you're a Buddhist, call me and let me know. We got callers. The lines are full. Let's keep going. Daniel from Utah. Talk to me. Men are simple.
Hey, how you doing, Zo?
I'm good, brother.
Hey, I work like this. Women use the sex for either a reward or a punishment. So it's going to cause stress in the relationship. Men work off of one simple fact, the 4S. Find us, feed us, fuck us, and forget about it.
Wow. No, he's right. Continue, Daniel. Go on.
I mean, that's just the basic. We are very simple creatures. When women use their femininity to get or achieve or to, you know, get what they want out of whatever it is, it's basically the way their mama taught them, use what you got to get what you want.
Wow. If there is a lady out there who vehemently disagrees with Daniel, please call us at 855-369-9898. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. He laid something out. Here's the missile metaphor. I got this out of a book, an incredible book. My daughter is in here. I hate to say this, but the book, I urge all my listeners right now, go to Amazon.com, buy this guy's book. It's called How to Manage Your DICK by Sean O'Reilly. Go get it. He put this metaphor in the book. I had to mention it. It's called the missile metaphor. He says, a man's penis is like a heat-seeking missile in that it's always looking for a warm place to explode. Always. How do we control that and redirect that energy? The mystics, whether it's tantric or Buddhist or Taoist or whatever, they will say that sexual energy is the most powerful energy and the most spiritual energy on planet Earth. And if redirected, can be channeled into other things, and you can use that energy to become self-aware, right? This is why the Kama Sutra talked about these different crazy positions where they mix sexuality and spirituality. And then you have the flexibility or the movements of yoga. Yoga is the Sanskrit word for union. Right? So you're using these positions, using the sex energy, right, to create or experience the union of all things. Now, I know it sounds really mystical and deep or whatever. Some people just don't believe all of that. So my question to you is, if you don't have a philosophy and you're just out there having sex, here's a deeper thing. What would the black community look like if we taught celibacy? And when I say celibacy, I don't mean never having sex. I mean withholding it, redirecting the energy. What would our community look like? I'm sure we wouldn't have 72% of, African-American children born out of wedlock, right? I'm sure we wouldn't have 70% of African-American women not married. I'm sure there would be some significant change. What do you guys think? 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. I got to take a quick break. Is sex the problem? An immersed look into celibacy, right, as a less complicated way of life. Somebody call me right now, 855-369-9898. I'm going for 2 minutes. I promise you, I'll be back in 2 seconds. Let it ride. Is sex the problem? Sometimes we might need to go on a long walk instead of acting on those urges. I don't know. Is sex the problem? A deeper look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. ZoWilliams.com on the Foxxhole right now. Listen to this. True or false? The average man ejaculates enough semen over a lifetime to generate 1 trillion human lives. Within a single man's loins sits the capacity to sire a little less than 200 times Earth's current population. And we're just walking around ready to bust if we don't know how to control our urges. Those primal urges our caller just talked about, they're real. The 4 F's. Look it up. Trust me, I'm not going to tell you anything that you can't go research. The 4 F's: fighting, fucking, feeding, and fleeing. The 4F Club. That's what it's called. These are the life force instincts which humans share with other animals. They are biological, inheritance for survival. It's crazy. And that part of the brain, the limbic system of the brain, the primitive ancestral brain called the id by Freud, or the will to power by Nietzsche. It's true. It's true. We have another philosopher, more of a modern philosopher, Ken Wilber, refers to it as the fuck it, kill it urge. I mean, listen to our music. Listen to hip hop. That's what we're talking about. When I tell you our music, our culture, especially in America, and it ain't just hip hop, it's movies, it's everything. It's beating our chest, it's winning, it's getting the girl at the end, it's killing people, it's mad testosterone, it's mad wilding. That's what it is. But that's some primal sexual stuff that we got to deal with. If we don't understand how to deal with our urges, I'm sure our relationships are going to suffer, right? Is sex the problem? Deeper look into celibacy. Maybe celibacy offers us the time for reflection. I offer this. Every relationship, right? A marriage, long-term, non-marriage, or whatever long-term relationship, there should be stints of time where that couple goes celibate. They're still together, but they shouldn't do it for a while. Just so they can recharge, reflect, cleanse, refresh. Because a lot of times you being with the same old crackers, you roll over and that's you. Jesus. Oh, God, how much longer are we going to be around? You might roll up, you might wake up in that mood. So I think sometimes it's best to step off for a little while and then remember why you guys connected in the first place and push yourself to understand the lack of knowledge of yourself. A lot of times people think I know myself pretty well, but maybe when you're in solitude and not always in another person's energy, you can learn yourself a little better and maybe work on some of the things that need work. Somebody call me right now at 855-369-9898. Tonight's topic, man, it's a crazy one. We're having a good time here, and the callers, the phone lines are as full as they can get. I need to get to you guys right now, but before I do that, let me give you the car analogy for the penis. It's funny, right? The penis was built for speed, but does not come with brakes or steering. Brakes and steering are accessories that must be added when one matures and gains knowledge of himself through experience. And I'm telling you, I got a 14-year-old. He's in high school right now, and he came. I went and picked him up. He was like, well, he didn't come. Hold on. My bad. Hold on. But he came to me, and he told me, he was like, yo, man, I was just watching the volleyball girls, and damn, Dad. I said, well, damn what? What's going on? He was like, the little shorts. And I said, okay, settle down, hold your horses. I'm real open with my son, and I try to talk to him about everything. And I tell him, keep your eye on the prize. Don't get caught up in the distractions. And one of the suggestions that I give him is that you're going to be young longer than you're going to be old. So you can start thinking about a delayed gratification. We need to start teaching that. How to delay self-gratification. You could get involved with a girl right now. You can have sex with a person right now. But if you give yourself time to develop yourself, and this goes to the adults too, just because you 25, 27, 28 or whatever, that don't mean you're mature. You got a lot of immature old people out there. Somebody call me right now, 855-369-9898. 12 reasons to be celibate. Number 1. You don't need to worry whether to shave or not to shave. You could just be bushy and smelly and all kind of other things. You don't need to worry about STDs because they're out there. Even with the condom, they're out there. Okay? You don't need to worry about whether to swallow or not to swallow. How about that? You do not need to worry who came first. It's always you. Right? You don't need to worry whether, you can get it up or not. Maybe you could just be, a flaccid little noodle as long as you want to be. And it doesn't matter. There's no pressure when you're, flaccid. You don't need to worry, if yours is too small compared to his or her other sex partners. You could just be, what you are, right out of the swimming pool. You don't need to bear the 10% chance of getting someone pregnant should the condom break. You don't need to worry about all of these things when you're celibate. And when you got all this time and all of this stuff, all this energy on your hands, you could be doing something for your life. A lot of people don't want to do nothing but get off. And I said this in a show before when I said that's the thing that the common man shares with the rich man. Everybody can have an orgasm. You can be homeless and bust off. You see what I'm saying? 855-369-9898. I'm going to the callers right now. Richard, North Carolina. You said we need self-control. I'm inclined to agree. Talk to me.
Hey, so how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Talk to me, man.
Hey, listen, I love your show, first of all. I've heard it a few times. I'm really enjoying it. I think that we have lost our sense as a people. We've lost what it means to raise children as a village, and we have so many negative outside forces that we think it's cool, to do this girl and do that girl, and especially with young black males, and you can't take it back once you've done it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that we just need to slow down and realize that you're only going to get one life.
Right.
Sex is not the most important thing in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be anyway.
Well, but let me just say this, Richard. Stay on with me. Let me just say this, and then we're going to go to Sherelle, JD, and Ron. Just hold on, guys. Rich, dude, what happens when that urge just overrides everything else and we just got to do what we got to do? That happens a lot, right?
Yeah, of course it does. I can tell you as a 42-year-old man, it happened to me, definitely. But the outcome is that I have multiple baby mamas, if you will.
Oh, right. And that's your lesson. You learned a lesson from this situation, correct?
Well, absolutely. On one hand, I look back at it and say, life has been very good for me, but I didn't have either parent in my life at a very young age, so I kind of raised myself. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of things I thought I knew. We all think we know things. And like I said, you can't take it back. I'm very grateful for my children now that they're here. But at the same time, when I listen to their stories and how the things that they're up against, it is tragic.
Wow.
It's really, really tragic, man. I'm so scared for these kids now because, they just have so many negative forces, especially, we can go on and on, but you're going to get those urges.
Wow. And you just got to learn how to manage them, man. Rich, you made it great, man. I appreciate you for calling in. Thank you very much. We're going to keep coming to the callers. Let's do it right now. JD, Maryland, you're up, man. Talk to me.
How you doing, Zoe?
I'm good, brother.
Well, I got an issue, and I was the cause of most of it, but it's now a friend of mine's daughter asked me one day why guys don't want to be with her, and I try to explain to her. I mean, young black females, any kind of female, young, you shouldn't give yourself up to so many different guys at an early age, because then when you get a certain age, like I'm 35 now, I'm married, but at the same time, it's like all the girls that I went out with and dated and just to have sex with, and it happened so fast or whatever, I waited for it. Then the girls you don't want to marry.
Right.
And
right.
I feel bad because a girl asked me one time, why did you get married to her and not me?
Wow.
And it was hard for me to tell her that, look, you was a neighborhood freak. We just like freaking you, but we don't want to marry you.
Wow. Hey, that's a great point, JD. Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it. You know what's so cool about that? My 11-year-old daughter, Prima, is in the building right now. And, this kind of dad I am. I allow her to hear this kind of conversation because she's going to hear it anyway. We were at Chuck E. Cheese yesterday. Me, it was me, her, and her brother. And, of course, it's family night at Chuck E. Cheese for her school. And a lot of her schoolmates are there. And my son they all went to the same school. But my son now is in high school, so he still knows a lot of those people there. And when I tell you the little girls was backing it up on him, I'm like, this is Chuck E. Cheese. They ain't even playing that kind of music. They got the fat rat walking around and the crazy little robots. That music ain't clapping, but the girls was all up on him. And I don't understand why the girls are so fast. And when I sit, me and my daughter, we listen to music all the time. I say, listen to these lyrics, honey. This is your era. This is your generation. This is how they engage you. You're a hoe to them. You're a bitch to them. Now jump up on this thing and do a full split. That's what they want you to do. And I said, you have to understand that your divinity or your virginity equals divinity. And you can't just give it to, Yuck Mouth with a gang of gold in his mouth and his tatted up body. He has to have the consciousness of a God, of a deity. He has to be the next Malcolm X. He has to be the next Martin Luther King. He got to be the next Zoe for you to get down like that. You understand? There's a discerning process. It's not just a response to the urge of somebody being cute and you want to get close. You see what I'm saying? So this is a real situation. Somebody call me right now, 855-369-9898. Is sex the problem in relationships? And immerse look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. ZoWilliams.com. We're having a great time. Callers, Sherelle from Long Beach. Talk to me.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, honey. How you doing?
I'm good. First, I wanted to commend you. Since you mentioned you communicate this topic with your 11-year-old daughter, I think that's great. I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son, and I do the same thing because they need to hear it the right way from the parents so that they don't hear it the wrong way. When they do hear it the wrong way, they can tell them the right way.
Absolutely.
One thing I wanted to comment on, something you said earlier, that sometimes you think in relationships we should abstain or kind of take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I disagree with you, or maybe just clarifications needed. I think I'm a family therapist. I've been a therapist for years.
Mm-hmm.
I think in married couples, I think the opposite should happen. I think the more love you make, the more connected you stay. Now, maybe couples aren't married. That should be something that takes place. Abstain from that so that you can make sure all those other things are balanced and right. But when you're married, I think that it's just the opposite. If you should have just as much love making as you want, so that you can stay connected. So even when times aren't well, or you're having conflict, sometimes it's that love making that brings you back together.
Right, and we agree. We're not in disagreement here, and I think there's more context to be had here, and that is when I say you should take a break, I think a lot of times when people think of love making, they think physical. But you have to remember there's spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional love making. And when you take a break from the physical, dude, you can make love emotionally. You can be empathetically, connected to each other. You can communicate. All of these things build intimacy. And a lot of times, most people think making love is just getting naked and having sex. That's reproduction. Love is much bigger than just the physical component. And I urge people to never, is she gone? I don't want her to be gone. She's gone. I don't want people to never stop making love. But, a lot of times people feel obligated to have sex. I mean, I know this one dude who tells me, man, his woman gives him sex, like a treat. It's like a treat. You took out the trash. You washed the clothes. You did the laundry. That's not lovemaking. Dude ain't his wife's puppy. I mean, but a lot of people are going through this. And then if you look at the stats on sexless marriages in America, they say it's over 40 million. So why be married and still be sexless? Somebody call me right now, 855-369-9898. I hope my homegirl Sherelle from Long Beach calls back. I really want her to call back so we can talk more. 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. Is sex the problem? We're going to come back after this quick break. I'll be right back. Woo-hoo-hoo. Let it ride. Hey, come on. Man. Ladies and gentlemen, ZoWilliams Rise and the voice of reason has returned to the Foxxhole. Is sex the problem? An in-depth look at, into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. Our girl Sherelle called back. I'm going to come to her, but I want Natasha, Ron, Phil, Jet, Pete, everybody that's online, hold tight. I promise you, I'm going to come to you very, very soon. 855-369-9898. ZoWilliams.com is the destination. Get there now. Leave a comment. At ZoWilliams is my Twitter page. I need to hear from you. We're going to get deeper. We're going to get deeper. This is what we do. It's very important that you guys reach out and call me right now at 855-369-9898. Before I get back to Sherelle, let me hit up a couple of these Twitter responses because it's on fire. At SpiritDriven11 regarding would you have waited longer to have sex? A lot of people regret that they gave it up to who they gave it up to. A lot of people out there living life like, man, what would my life be different had I not gave it up to Boo-Boo the Fool? Hey, a lot of people feel that way. Call me right now, 855-369-9898. She says, yes, honestly, I could have went without all of them but one. And she says out of 3. So there was 3 cats early on, and she was like, I could have went without all of them. At Sugar Game for free, regarding would you have waited longer to have sex? Oh, my God, yes. It's certainly something that I could have waited for. I tell my kid that all the time. And a lot of times, man, vicariously, we living through those kids and trying to make them make decisions based off of the mistakes we made. Somebody call me, 855-369-9898. At Avon Anthony regarding how sex complicates relationships. If you're just friends, it will complicate things. But if you're in a relationship, don't treat it as a job. Role play. God said it's adult fun. A lot of people have a hard time, Listen, I find that a lot of people that I talk to, are really focused on getting off. I don't know if they're as connected as they should be to their partner, making sure that their partner is enjoying the experience, and it's a mutuality going on. A lot of times it's, man, I just need to bust off so I can just calm down or feel better or do whatever. And it becomes a task. Somebody call me, 855-369-9898. Is sex the problem? Call me right now and let me know what you think of this topic. We're about to get to it right now. Callers, Sherelle, you're back, yeah?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, but did you understand what I was saying about the different levels of intimacy, spiritual,
Yes,
mental,
I did.
physical, and emotional? So I didn't want you to feel like I was saying don't have sex, period. But when I say step away, it means step away from just the physical aspect for a minute and connect to the other more subtle levels of intimacy. And I find that, and in my personal experience, I find that the relationship gets richer when we get back to the physicality of it all, because there's more substance and content there. What do you think?
I definitely agree, because I think, too, the longer you're married, you may not have to do that as much. But my parents have been married for 42 years. And my dad, all his brothers have been married 40 and 50 years. And so they'll tell you that's what you have to do. You definitely have to get that mental stimulation, in.
Right, because sex is really a head game. And if your head isn't in it, or if your head is about self-gratification, it's going to be problematic. What do you think?
I definitely agree. And something else you just commented on during the break, one of the things I do, too, is sell adult toys and novelties, and I also do workshops for couples. And one of the things that people tend to do is, get theirs off first. And so when you have couples who are really in tune and really love each other and want to satisfy the other person, then again, you'll have that person that's inquisitive and interested in, like you say, role-playing and toys and different things so that they can satisfy their partner. But what I'm finding is a lot of people don't care enough about a person, or they're not in that type of loving relationship, i.e. people who are not married.
Wow, great point.
And short-term marriages, or they have multiple partners, and they're not the only one.
Wow.
You find that happening.
Sherelle, you got to contact with me. You got to connect with me. Go to my website, ZoWilliams.com. Leave your information there. We got to hook up, and we got to do something at my next relationship roundtable here in Los Angeles. You might even get a chance to go on the road with me. I need somebody of your caliber to back me up on these things. Let's get active. Go to ZoWilliams.com, ZoWilliams. Thanks for calling. I'll see you in a second. Let's get busy. Callers. I got to take Natasha from Chicago. You're in the building. Let's go, Natasha.
Hello, how you doing today?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing good. My comment is that I definitely would believe in a more celibate lifestyle, even though at my young age, I just turned 23 the other day. And I'm learning that my generation, like you said before, it's really, really rough out here as far as dating and trying to get to know guys. I mean, guys really just want to get up with you and be done with you more than anything in the world. And it's hurtful, because at the same time, when you do have decent women or women who are looking for, meaningful relationships and things like that, and you keep running into knuckleheads, it's just like, gosh, when is it enough? You know what I mean? And I think when you're young, you make mistakes. Like I've made a few mistakes myself, but I'm trying to learn from them and trying to, be better than, what's exactly going on. And so I do worry about the younger generation. I have a younger cousin who's 15, and he has a little girlfriend, and, they're just all over each other. And I'm just like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't get this girl pregnant. You know what I mean? So
right.
If I would definitely say, people, like you said, sex is definitely a mental thing. And if you don't, it's mental. If you don't feel it mentally, then you probably just wasting your time eventually,
Right.
And yeah, it's crazy.
Natasha, hey, I'm glad you called. I'm glad you waited, and I appreciate you for sharing your insight. This is the Voice of Reason. You can call anytime. Thanks again. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I got to take a quick song break, but I'm coming back to Jet, Thurman, Phil, Ron, Pete. That's Cleveland, New York, Dallas, New Mexico. We coming to all of y'all, and listen to this song from The Time. They told us to get it up. What were they talking about? I'll be back in 2.2 to answer that question. I just want y'all to feel good with the music. That's all. I just want the music to touch the topic. Let's go with it, huh? Is sex the problem? A deeper look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. ZoWilliams.com on the Foxxhole, Sirius XM 98. You know how we do. 855-369-9898. That is the number to dial. Get at me right now. Does abstaining from sex or going celibate after a nasty breakup help the person recover faster? A lot of times we rebound right into some other mess before cleansing, detoxing. Is celibacy a form of spiritual detox, sexual detox? Call me right now, 855-369-9898. Is sex more about personal gratification, the personal gratification that it provides to you, or the person you're doing it with? Do you care about them? Call me, 855-369-9898. Callers, I'm coming to you right now. Jet, New Mexico, you're next in line. Let's go.
Zoe, love your show, man.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, man, real quick, after a 17-year marriage, I've learned to level the playing field. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I think by birth, women have been empowered, influenced to empower their pussy. Does that make sense?
Wow, go deeper.
Let me tell you what experience tells you after a 17-year marriage, and then having to learn how to date and all of that stuff all over again. Once you start taking the power out of that pussy, you stop chasing your dick around. So where I'm at now, being single again, knowing how women are, then after that 17-year marriage, my dick chased me. I don't chase my dick around anymore.
Wow. That's good stuff, man. I appreciate the call. Thanks for sharing, Jet. As you get older, testosterone levels in men level off. When we're young, we peak around 21 in the testosterone production. After 21, there's a gradual decline in it. Maybe when we're younger, while we can't think, the testosterone level is so high, we're just ready to pepper jack off in anything. So as it, tapers off, we get a clearer head. Somebody call me, 855-369-9898. True or false? Celibacy is achieved by only 10% of the priest population. That's a cold question. 855-369-9898. Callers, I'm coming. Let's go. Who we got online? We got Phil from Cleveland. Let's go.
Hey, how you doing, Zoe?
I'm good, man. Let's do it.
Hey, listen, I don't think that sex is a problem. I think that the promotion of sex is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the way they promote sex, let's give an example. Life Jennings had a song out called Sex, and then he came out with another one called Statistics. The sex song got more play than Statistics. Okay, because Statistics broke it down on how, if you were a woman and you out here looking for a man, this is how you do it. And it talked against actually going in for the sex, but it talks about being a certain way. You understand what I'm saying?
Man,
so
that's good stuff.
All the kids today, most of the girls today, the younger girls, their standards are too low. If they raise their standards, then they'll bring the man's standards up as well.
Wow. Hey, I appreciate you waiting online and sharing that with me. Ron, New York, it's your time to chime. Talk to me.
Good night, Phil.
What's happening, bro?
There's a lot of issues, a lot of questions that you have, and the one person can't touch it all. I think the celibacy is from two points of view. From a Christian, it's a guideline as a Christian and a self-choice from a non-Christian. No, a lot of men out there has this sociopathic mentality. That's what I call it. Because, like Daniel said earlier, with the four F's, Shabba Ranks, a singer from Jamaica, actually said a 5W. Find them, friend them, fool them, fuck them, and forget them. No, you might have a Christian lady who says she's celibate, she's waiting until she get married and stuff. She might find a young man who's not a Christian or not in church, but he will play the role of being sincere, sympathetic to her needs, and hold out. She's believing that he actually genuinely want to be with her and hold out as long as he can just to sleep with her. In the meantime, he's sleeping with other females for sexual gratification. No, and sexual gratification to me is based on an age group. Like if you take teenagers anywhere from 13 to 25, it's just about sexual gratification, especially in the male, how much females they could sleep with. As you get older, and a man wanted to settle down, want to get married, want to start having kids, start having family, he start thinking like a female in terms of the choices he makes and the kind of female he want to settle down with and start a family with. So he's not running the streets as much as a younger person.
Wow, that's good stuff, man. I'm glad you hung on the phone, man. I appreciate that. And he has a point. There's some passages in the Bible. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Now, Paul wrote Corinthians, okay? So for the people, a lot of priests who are, required to be celibate, I guess, in order to be a priest. use these scriptures to validate the celibacy movement. Paul was probably pro-celibacy over marriage, according to these verses that I'm about to read. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Right? 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 28, 27 verses later, he says, but if you do marry, now he promotes monogamy. But if you do marry, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. But those who marry, listen to this, will face many troubles in this life, and I want to spare you this. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 28. And the first verse was 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. Verse 1 says, I don't even want you to touch a woman. Verse 28 says, if you do touch a woman, be faithful to her. Marry her. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like Paul, somebody call me that's a reverend. If there's a reverend out there, call me at 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. If there's a reverend out there, tell me if Paul was pro-celibacy and saw marriage as the second option. Somebody call me, marriage and monogamy as the second option. Somebody call me 855-369-9898. If you're just tuning in, is sex the problem? An immersed look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. ZoWilliams.com, Foxxhole Radio. Let's go. 855-369-9898. I'm going to callers right now. Mac from Cleveland. It's your time to chime. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, Zo?
I'm good, brother.
Hey, listen, man, I agree with the one brother that called. You said that, how women control the standard. That's accurate, but I think that one of the problems with women is other women, man. Just for every one woman that wants to practice celibacy and raise the standard, as he said, you got 3-4 out there, man, like you said with your son, was backing it up on them. You know what I'm saying? They got low morals, low standards. They make it hard for a sister out here to do the right thing, you know? So what they going to do, sit back and let these other vultures collect all the men while they remain celibate and manless? It's a basic human desire to want to belong, you know?
Wow.
I mean, what these sisters supposed to do when you got so many others out here with these low standards? This is dropping it, giving it to a brother. It ain't even a game no more, so you know how easy it is nowadays, man?
Wow. Hey, man, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. That's good information. But men run the world. We do. You know, and at the end of the day, the way we get down, we dictate how the women will behave in a lot of ways. Let's just keep it real. If there wasn't a market out there for Nelly to swipe his card down the tip drill girl's butt, if there wasn't a market, she wouldn't be there. We create the market, and now she's there. Somebody agree, disagree? I want to hear your opinion. I just want to hear it. I got to take a quick break. But when I come back, we're going back to the callers. Tonight's topic, man, is crazy. Is sex the problem? I want to know how you're dealing with it. Get at me. I'll be back in 2.2. How many out there are strong enough to wait for love? That's what Luther was asking. How many of you are strong enough to wait for love? Let it ride. Let him ride a little bit. That's the great Luther Vandross. Let's get a piece of it. Man, say word. Say Luther didn't hit it right on the head. He knew what he knew. Come on now. Is sex the problem? An immersed look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. I mean, this is a real situation. You want to go to the Taoist route? They talk about the sexual energy, the chi coming up from the root chakra. Earth, Wind, and Fire knew what it was when they talked about the serpentine. They talked about that spiritual energy that climbs up the spinal cord and goes into the brain, right? I'm just saying. I mean, this is a real situation. This is what the spiritualists looked at it as. I mean, sex is a spiritual energy. If you agree or disagree, call me right now, 855-369-9898. Regarding the priest, though, man, in the news, man, you know, priest's mistress asked Pope to scrap the celibacy rule. What? About 40 Italian women wrote an unusual open letter to Pope Benedict asking him to end the church's celibacy rule for priests in 2010. All the women claim to have had or are having intimate affairs with priests or monks. I mean, this is reported by the Global Post, which talks to some of the women willing to go public. Don't be shocked, Your Holiness, the letter reads. In order to become effective witnesses to the need for love, they need to embody it and experience it fully in the way that their nature demands. That's what the mistresses of the priests wrote. I'm just saying, did celibacy make these dudes, abuse children? Somebody call me right now, 855-369-9898. I mean, it's a cold situation. And then you have another story out there where a TV priest bears an affair with his cousin. A popular priest who leads a worldwide television ministry is taking a leave from his church, duties after revealing an affair with his second cousin. Michael Manning, he's under the bus now, fessed up, right, after a local newspaper received a series of intimate notes between Manning and his former lover, a school superintendent from Monterey County. Manning apparently broke off the relationship with Nancy Kotowski 3 years ago. I was living two lives, one as a priest who was vowed to celibacy and another as a sexually active man in our sexual intimacy. Manning, now 70, told the San Bernardino Sun. I mean, it seems like the priests are having a very, very difficult time with it. Somebody call me, 855-369-9898. I'm not done with the information. We've got some more tweets. Let's go. Let's do the tweets. At Big Doug 24/7. Remember you spoke about behavior as the most effective lie. Women want more because they want it that much more. I did say that behavior is the most effective lie. That's because culturally we're taught to, compatibility outside of just physical attraction. A lot of times compatibility is based on our culture, what we've learned, our ideas about relationship. That's why I always say never date your idea unless you've challenged your idea. A lot of people just adopt an idea, don't challenge it, and in not challenging it, they don't see the weakness or the flaws in it. The weakness and the flaws manifest in the ideal that you've adopted when you get into a relationship. This is why I say relationship is a highly reflective mirror, and the weaknesses of your beliefs will manifest once you're in the relationship. So my question is, challenge your beliefs, because what happens with men, we've been taught to just be quiet and agree and listen and take in information and then mold our behavior according to the ideals of the woman. We might not necessarily agree with those ideals, but we know by behaving a certain way, she's looking for the behavior, because most women say behavior speaks louder than words. But what women don't understand, in my opinion, is that intentions speak louder than behavior. I can intend to behave a certain way just to get what I want from you. Now, I didn't open the door, I didn't put the napkin on your lap, and I've done all the things required for you to be like, he's a really great man. But I could be like, this isn't who I am. That's why a lot of times after we get the nookie, and then you wake up one day, either we're gone or we're different, and you got to relearn, who are you? The nigga that was holding tight and doing all the other things, that ain't me no more. I'm just saying, that's what it is. Somebody call me, 855-369-9898. A lot of times sociologists or clinicians or whatever will call that behavioral confirmation. Women are looking for behavioral confirmation. I want them to behave like this. I want them to do like that. But a lot of times men are just trying to learn you so we can behave in accordance to what you believe is valuable. Trust me when I tell you, it's a cold situation. It's a game we've been taught. 855-369-9898. Call me right now. I got callers online, but also got a whole stack of tweets. At SportsMK, I tried to get my little brothers to wait, but it's a peer pressure thing. They were popular and people expected them to have sex. Hey, that's what's going on with my son right now. When I tell you they coming at him, they coming at him. Freshman, varsity, you know, he ain't a bad looker either, you know. 5'11", almost 6 feet, you know. He's a cold piece of work, lefty. Yeah, he's cold. But they coming at him. He like, Dad, man. And I'm giving him the real. I told him today, I got a great book for you to read. It's called How to Manage Your Dick. He laughed and he was rolling. I said, but listen, for real. I sat him down, let him read it. I said, dude, you got to back up your urges with a philosophy. The philosophy causes you to stop, think, and reflect. Remember, your limbic system, your animal urges and instincts don't think. They just do. That's the old reptilian brain versus the new cerebral cortex, the frontal lobe where your emotions and your language and your feelings are. A lot of times people have to understand that it's a battle between two brains. Call me, 855-369-9898. At MKez, I was celibate for 30 days. That was some difficult shit. I believe you. At L Boogie 13, for some folks, sex takes away the intellectual aspect of the relationship. You need the intellect in order to comprehend. Maybe so. I like that. People don't understand. The best sex is in between the brain, in between the ears. Here we go. 855-369-9898. I'm coming to the callers right now. Pete, Louisiana. Talk to me about celibacy.
Yeah, it's got its good points. I mean, for two, you ain't got to worry about no kids. And you ain't got to worry. And the most important thing, you ain't got to worry about kids no disease.
Right.
As these kids growing up now, I mean, I'm 26, so this generation that's coming up now, basically think sex is a game. Once they think sex is a game, I mean, they going out sleeping with different women and different type of sex, you know what I'm saying? But it all comes down, you get something that you can't get rid of.
Right. Hey, I appreciate the call. Thanks for holding on, Pete. You made this a great show with your comments. I appreciate it. Gwen, Georgia, can you top that? Let's go.
Well, to me, celibacy it gives you a chance to find something better to do, because most people just have sex just to have sex. And me, right now, I have vowed to be celibate due to my husband being on the road. Mm-hmm. He won't be back until next February. It's a kind of up and down road and whatnot, but
wait, Gwen, hold on. Gwen, can I ask you a question? I hate to interrupt because I always like to give you guys the floor, but you gotta be faithful. You're not celibate. You just gotta wait until your husband get back. What are you talking about?
See, hold on. See, even with him, I told him that I think I want to wait until we get married. So we already have a son together, but it gives me a chance to work on myself, work on everything I want to do in life. And me, it's just a whole mind thing. And sex, it always messes it up. It'll knock you off track in a minute. You get caught up in sex and your world starts spinning.
Wow.
And everyone knows how it is after they haven't had sex after a while, and then they finally get it, and it's just like a kid in a candy store.
Wow. I appreciate the call. Thank you for the information. We need that. Keep calling, 855-369-9898. It's your show. I want you to participate. Tonight's topic is a deep one. It's a cold one. We got a stack of tweets, man. At True Genius, Tupac said revenge is the sweetest joy next to getting, you know what he said, and you know, my baby girl is here. Dad, there are maybe 2 or 3 other joys that can't be substituted. So, I mean, man, sex is wonderful, but sex without meaning is what? What is it? You know how many, and somebody call me right now and verify this. Have you ever been with somebody, you were having sex, but it was meaningless? It was purposeless. There was disconnection. It was doing it just for the sake of doing it. Bad sex is that. Have you ever had bad sex with somebody? You just didn't really connect with the person, but the opportunity presented itself. 855-369-9898. 855-FOX-9898. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at ZoWilliams. Tweet us at FOXXHOLE at Foxxhole. I mean, a lot of times, man, That is the worst kind of sex, when there's disconnection, when there's just, we just doing it. We met at the club and the opportunity present itself. I don't even really know you. I mean, sometimes, man, that could be the best sex. Sometimes it could be the worst sex. Somebody call me and tell me about your experience on that. At DJ Heavy Duty, Dave Chappelle said, if pussy was a stock, it would plummet. You are giving it away too easy. Woo, I had to read that. 855-369-9898. Who agrees or disagrees with that tweet? He got a bunch of them. At DJ Heavy Duty, there is a time and place for celibacy. Boxers aren't even supposed to masturbate. No women in the training camp either. That's true too. Sometimes you gotta abstain, because especially in sports. I mean, when I played basketball, that's what they taught us. Don't do it before a game, because it'll rob your energy, your leaping ability, and all of that. Somebody call me, 855-369-9898. At, what is this, Tyree Fletcher? I think that's his name. Men run it. As long as I keep seeing these chicks in the same pose in the bathroom mirror showing me their ass, they do it for us. Hey, listen, this is something else I tell my daughter as well. This is a jewel I give her all the time. I say, you need to understand your power. If a man comes to you beneath your conscious level, you are not to just fall over this dude. And she goes, well, what do you mean beneath my conscious level? I say, check this out. Because, she's a young girl, so Chris Brown and all of the, entertainers and that kind of stuff. And I explained to her, talent is not tantamount to character. Just because somebody is talented doesn't mean they are a person of great integrity or character. So, you could be a talented guy, and most talented people are geniuses in some way, and most geniuses are close to insane, because that's why you're a genius. But I tell her, don't get caught up in a person's talent. You have to connect to their character. And if their character is one that is subpar to your own, in other words, if their character shows that they're disrespectful, disingenuous, inconsistent, that is not a person you should invest in. You see, because your relationships they're in a way, they're kind of like banks, because you're investing your time, energy, and effort into the person. And if you don't get a spiritual dividend in return, you've wasted your time, which is more precious, more valuable than money. See, you can lose $1 million and find a way to get it back. You can't lose 1,000,000 hours and find a way to get that back. 855-369-9898. ZoWilliams, Foxxhole Radio. I'm going to the callers. Jamal, North Carolina. Talk to me.
Hey, man, thanks for letting me talk. I think this is a cultural and geographical issue. We are loving sex so much we actually created a word for when you don't have it, and
what is
that's celibacy. If we were in another country, they focus. As a kid, you're focused on your schoolwork or your studies, your arts. Till you get older, that's why they say, Chinese, Japanese women are much more passionate, because sex to them is something that much more passionate. Their pornos, they blur out even crotch hair. That's how much more passionately they think about this stuff. So we're not. We are selling sex on beer signs, cigarettes, little kid cartoons. They're trying to tell kids to go out and go study. From cartoons to the Disney Channel, we're selling relationships, sex, everywhere. So it's hard for us to try to get it out of our head. What we need to think about is that's not so much. Life is more about you finding yourself and accomplishing something, and then sex is on the side when you find your mate. But instead, we're putting it first. And then on top of that, we're telling people it's okay. It's all right. Everybody does this. You're going through stages of your life. You're curious. When we have to remember, it's only cultural. This isn't natural across the board for the entire world. Yes, you have urges, but what's, a lot of places, you focus and you're taught that discipline. Okay, let me work on myself. What do I need to do? What am I good at and want to keep excelling at? But it's here, where we're selling sex because sex sells. It's more marketing, and
Absolutely.
We're all falling victims to it.
Absolutely, man. That's great information, because it does, and I appreciate the call. Thank you, brother Jamal. That, it speaks to our primal urges. Men are visual. I tell my daughter this too. Women get broken by men through emotion. Chris Brown evokes an emotional response out of his female fans. Michael Jackson did it. And Michael Jackson started crying. People go nuts. The girls are going nuts. You understand what I'm saying? Prince, emotional. They touch you emotionally. That's what men do, right? If we behave correctly, if we're respectful, it creates an emotional bond to the woman. We always say when women have sex, there's an emotional bond in the sex act where a man might not be connected that so emotionally. I'm just saying, not saying that we aren't connected emotionally, but I'm saying there's a different process for us. We can have sex with a girl and be like, but you're not my number one. What are you doing? I don't care. You understand? But a woman might be like, oh, wow. So I tell my daughter, men get broken by women physically. We could be having a deep conversation, and if Beyonce was to walk by, or anybody even remotely close to Beyonce in some tight shorts or whatever, the conversation is on pause for a moment until she's gone, until she's out of sight. We get broken physically. We're visual. Like, did you see? Yeah, I saw it. Okay, back to what was it? Yeah, don't let it be a herd of them. Then we're really done. I'm just saying that's how you guys break us. So I tell my daughter to be aware of these kind of movements. Thurman from Dallas, talk to me.
Hey, how's it going? First of all, I want to congratulate you, Zoe, for allowing your daughter to be part of the conversation.
Oh yeah, thank you, bro.
Of this magnitude, because I was raised in the 70s, and that was not a topic that went on in our household. Mm-hmm. And because of that, my first sexual experience was at the age of 8.
Wow.
And I think that because of that, my perspective on sex and women, it was just distorted. It has been distorted my whole life.
Wow.
I mean, it's never about love or intimacy. It's about having sex. And that, causes a lot of problems. And I believe that if we take the time to sit down and let our children be part of this type of conversation, that they can have a better chance at not getting themselves in the situation that I got in.
Wow.
Wow. And
at eight, brother, what was the experience?
It was a babysitter.
Mm.
There were a few girls in the neighborhood who babysat, and that it happened. And I don't know if it was because they were just experimenting with me or what, but it happened. I mean, during that time, I thought everything was going great, but as I grew older, I became, a dog. That's all I was looking for. That's all I wanted from women. And, and it has gone into my adulthood. I am married now, and I still have that in me.
Wow. So
I've been married for 11 years, and I mean, I'm sad to say that I have been unfaithful.
Wow. I was going to ask.
Huh?
I was going to ask you really quickly, how old were the two girls? I mean, you basically had a menage a trois at 8.
14, 15 years old.
Wow. Do you mind if I ask you, what did they do?
Well, everything. There was masturbating, there was sucking, there was intercourse, and at the time, I had fear in me because of the noises that they were making. I didn't know anything about sex at the time. Wow. I thought I was hurting them, and then as I got to come to realize that's not what was going on, then I wanted to hear this from every woman that I was with.
Wow.
And like when you guys are speaking about orgasms, I don't even really have them most of the time. Most of the time, my satisfaction comes from hearing them.
Wow.
And I do credit that to what happened to me at an early age.
Let me ask you, have you sought therapy?
A few times. Because, my life's gone out of control. I mean, I'm a recovering addict. I'm just now getting to where I'm getting control of my life. And I just turned 45 last Sunday.
Wow. Man, you've blown me away, man. You've blown me away with this information, man. Let me just say this, Thurman. I appreciate you for it takes mad courage. They tell us that only 1% of 1% of 1%, I mean, it's a really minuscule number of amount of people who will actually get the courage up to call a radio station. But for you to call here and share what you've shared, man, you might be changing somebody's life. So if I can ask you, what are you doing to work past some of the difficulties that you're experiencing from that situation?
There's, I have to slow down first. And I'm trying to develop more intimacy, with my wife, and sit down and just talk, not sex, just intimacy, just, being together, holding each other, talking. And that's something that I don't do. I've never done. It was all about wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, I'm gone, Wow. And I've been through so many women because of that, and we were discussing, that, some women are after that themselves. And I find myself, once I get into that clique, then I thrive in there because I know that they're looking for the same thing that I'm looking for.
Wow. Hey, brother, once again, I thank you for sharing. I urge you, man, try. Maybe, therapists are a funny thing. Therapists are like shoes. They don't always fit. So, maybe you need to try on a couple of different pair. Go out there and look for somebody to help you, man. I appreciate you sharing the information. Thank you, man, for calling in. 855-369-9898. Get to your phone lines right now. I got to take a quick break, but when I come back, I'm going to more callers. If you have an interesting story, like my brother Thurman from Dallas, you're welcome to share it with us. 855-FOX-9898. I'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, keep that record playing. That's Loose Ends. The record is called You Got Me Hanging on Strings. My question is, are you sex puppet? Does your urges have you dangling on strings? 855-369-9898. Is sex the problem? A deeper look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. A lot of powerful sisters are out there doing big things, right? And they say a lot of sisters are, single, and unmarried, and can't find a good dude, and can't find a dude that matches their education or their income level. And you know what? A lot of sisters find themselves, at a point where the biological clock is off now. They can't hear it. It stopped ticking. They look around and they say, well, I'm successful, but I don't have the dude that I want. A lot of times when you belay that relationship in favor of, the career, you wake up and be like, well, there's nobody here now to share all of this with me. Sometimes celibacy goes too far. Somebody call me right now, 855-369-9898. Got a couple of quotes here. As to marriage or celibacy, let a man take which course he will. He will be sure to repent. That's Socrates. He said marriage or celibacy is a problem. He'll be sure to repent. Either one of those. Marriage has many pains, but celibacy has no pleasures. That's Samuel Johnson. Somebody call me right now at 855-369-9898. We got a lot of callers. I'm going to get to you right now. Twitter, keep coming. I'm going to read you too. Warren, North Carolina, talk to me.
Man, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, brother. What's happening?
Well, I'm doing all right, man. I was like the last caller you just had. My first sexual experience was around 8, 9 years old. Babysitter, same thing. And it was crazy because I kind of found out that I didn't know she was like it was down the line cousin. So, it really don't count, but the fact still remained that she was my cousin. But, we've had sex, what I'm saying? I didn't know what I was doing. She was more experienced than I was, and, I thought I was hurting her as well, because of the things she was doing and stuff like that. But I'm at my point in life now, you know, and I also, you know, it was another topic, but, you know, I also was molested. But due to all the early sexual experience that I have encountered in my life at an early age, you know, I'm at a point in my life now so that, you know, it's hard to, you know, to keep me satisfied with sex. You know, I can't get enough. You know, it's to the point where, you know, my wife tells me, you know, man, you a beast, man. I mean, calm down. I mean, you might want to get some help, you know, or something. But, you know, like that last caller, man, you know, I feel like due to the point that so early in my life, man, I think it has affected me now.
Okay. Wow. Is he still there? I think he went out. Sorry, Warren. We got to move on. Are you there? Okay, good. There you go. Continue, Warren.
I also, you know, I wasn't also being unfaithful, you know, due to sex, but it's just crazy. The only reason why I called because you had a caller before me, and he was just like me. So, you know, I just wanted to elaborate on that, you know, it's two callers tonight like that, and it's crazy.
Wow. That's tough, man. Yo, sometimes, man, like I said, being a human is hard enough, right? You remember this television show many years ago called The Greatest American Superhero? A lot of cats, all the 80s babies will know what I'm talking about. The Greatest American Superhero. Basically, a normal dude finds an alien suit, and it turns him into a superhero, right? But the problem is the suit doesn't have a manual. So he doesn't know how to fly. And as the episodes progress, he learns different things that the suit is capable of, right? The human condition is the same way. You're not born with a manual. And it's very difficult to see yourself unless you're in relationships. And a lot of times when you're in relationships, what you're getting out of the relationship, you say is coming from the other person, but is really the reflection of yourself bouncing back to you. I'm trying not to be too philosophical, but that's how you see the weakness in your character is by way of the reflection of relationship. And you got to be able to take responsibility of some of the negativity that's happening in the relationship and take that and learn. It's the same advice I give my son. I say mistakes are your friend. Because mistakes tell you what you got to work on. And as long as you're finding things to work on, guess what's happening to you? You're improving. 855-369-9898 if you're just tuning in. Tonight's topic is sex, the problem, an immersed look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. I think our African American community would benefit greatly if we start teaching the value and the power of sex. And how to, just like you teach people to be responsible with money, you teach people to be responsible with time, you teach people to be responsible with resources, you got to teach people to be responsible with the natural urges of being a human. And everybody's going to make mistakes, but you've got to give them tools with which to understand what mistake was made and how to correct it. Let's get busy. I'm going to the callers right now. Jimmy, Alabama, talk to me.
Hey, how you doing, Zoe? Thanks for taking my call. Couple of things. I'm one of 8 children. My father has fathered 18 kids, and with my mother it was 6 of us. And with that saying is that there was a lot of sex going around, but no one ever talked to me. Me being the third oldest child, no one ever sat me down and said, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. And me growing up in high school, I wasn't the popular kid or the handsome one. I was kind of like the ugly duckling. So after I joined the military and got on my own and came into my own, you know, then now the women want to shoot at the brothers. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't understand that, and I just kind of made a mess of it, you know what I'm saying? I just wish someone would talk to me. With me and my children and my girls and my son, I started them up early and say, look, this is what happens, this is what goes down. But I think we just got to open up the conversation with our children, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I didn't get that growing up.
Absolutely. Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it, Jimmy from Alabama. ZoWilliams.com is the destination. You got to get there. You got to leave a comment. Hey, if you got show ideas and concepts or whatever, send them to me. I will respond to you. I appreciate everything. I appreciate all of the responses on Twitter. Get at me at ZoWilliams. Follow me. This conversation is all week long. In a second, we're going to take a song break. But before I do that, I got to get to a couple more callers. And I'm going to read this quote by Pope John Paul II. He says, "The vow of celibacy is a matter of keeping one's word to Christ and the church, a duty and a proof of the priest's inner maturity. It is the expression of his personal integrity." Pope John Paul II. Now, with that quote, are we saying the ones that can't do it are somehow lacking integrity? Somebody call me and speak to this, 855-369-9898. One caller, my producer tells us. I'm going to get to you all, but I got to take one caller before we get to the song break. Anthony, New Mexico, it's your time to chime.
How you doing, Zoe?
What's happening?
Hey, I want to comment on the part by what the guy was saying about his babysitter. Well, mine wasn't like that. I was raised up in a family where sex wasn't talked about in the house. But once we moved to the project and got around the girls and the guys, that's when you learned about sex. When they ask you, hey, you want to have sex? What is that? I was about 10 years old. So it was about 3 girls and about 6 guys standing around. So I wanted to know what they're doing and waiting on my turn. So when it came my turn, you had to wait online. It wasn't, and when you talk about everything, and they was at that same age, 10, 13, I was the oldest.
Wow.
And that's how I learned about sex, and as I got older, that's all I wanted to do.
Wow. You see how those experiences at a young age affects, it's almost like it's a ripple effect, and it affects you throughout the rest of your life. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. His story reminds me when I was a little kid in the Alton Parks projects. I was in the projects, and one of my sister's friends, I'm finna put her out on blast. Her name was Trish Ann, right? I had to be like 8. No, I was a little younger than that. I had to be like 6 or 7. And she was just as fat and gigantic. No disrespect to the obese family, but she was huge. She was an apartment, and it was cold. It was ridiculous. I had gone to her house because my sister told me to take something. I think it was like a hot iron or something, or some curling irons or whatever, back to her. Bigums McGruff. Once I get in, she closes the door behind me, and we went upstairs. She was like, "Okay, bring this here." And I'm like 6 or 7. I'm like, "All right, I've seen her 100 times at my house." We go up there. I give her the thing. She said, "Put it in that drawer over there." I go put it in the drawer. When I turn around, Biggie Smalls was getting undressed. Right? Let me tell you something. My brother taught me how to jump from roof to roof, and when I saw the world of layers and nakedness, I was frightened. I jumped out the window. And you know the technique when you off those little concrete slabs that you land on out the window you land on. My brother was like, what you do is you hold on, then you wait till you stop swinging, and then you let go. That's what I did. Ran back to the crib, told my sister, and then she went and beat her up. Trish Ann, you was wrong for that. I was 7. Anyway, I gotta take a quick break. Song break. Listen to this record right here. One of my favorite records. Tribe Called Quest. They're going to talk about hot sex on a platter. Wow.
To all my people with the funk, I'm the undercover brother. Dump your hoe in the trunk. Save all the sad songs and the tear jerkers.
Ladies and gentlemen, ZoMethi is rising, the voice of reason, back in the building. Tonight's topic is sex the problem, an immersed look into celibacy as a less complicated way of life. But speaking of that, here are the top 10 surprising health benefits of sex. Relieves stress, boosts immunity, burns calories, improves cardiovascular health, boosts self-esteem, improves intimacy, reduces pain, reduces prostate cancer risks, strengthens pelvic floor muscle, and helps you sleep better. But I'm sure if you just worked out and remained celibate, you could get all of those same benefits. I don't know. Callers, I'm coming to you right now. But before I do, one tweeter, is it tweet? tweet. Sorry. Got my Speedy on. That's my homeboy. At John Lack or June Look or June Lack. I don't know. Junlac. It's a strange name. But great comment he writes here, or she writes. It says, pussy is overrated, but undefeated. 855-369-9898. That's what it is. Callers, I'm coming to you, but I need you to keep your statements short. 35 seconds or less. I want to get as many of you in as I possibly can, starting with Simone, Connecticut. Let's go.
Hi, Zoe. This is Simone. I just want to let you know that I'm 35 years old, and I've been celibate and single for a while. Not because I'm not attractive, but the guys that I meet are the yo-yo baby types who have a girlfriend who just wants a booty call. I don't have time for that, so I just rather make my own money, live my own life, and I just recently purchased a house by myself without a man. So if I ever get the urge to need some, I'll just go get me a booty call and live my life. If God puts a man in my life to be there for good reasons, then I'll deal with it at that point in time. But right now, I'm just having fun living my life and making my money because men are nothing but trouble.
Well, Simone, wait a minute. Your statement here says women don't need men, but in effect you do, because you say you'll go get a booty call. Now, either you need us or you don't. Tell us what's.
I don't need it because I have plenty of things in the store. We have toy parties. I have a clit piercing. I can just go over a bump and get satisfied.
But you didn't say that at first. You said you go get a booty call. Now, you can't get a booty call with a strap on. You just can't.
I said if it ever got to that point, I could go just get a booty call.
Come on now. Just go find a good dude. We're out there. We're out there. It's not impossible.
Yeah, it's not impossible, no. But lately, the guys that I meet, the guys that are around, they're just either taken, they just want a good time, and I don't have time for that.
Wow. Well, thank you, Simone. I appreciate the call from Connecticut. Let me get another caller in, but you got to give me 30 seconds or less. Donald, ATL, talk to me.
Hey, Zoe.
What's happening?
I was 9 years old when I first had sex. My brother had his lady friend to show my brother how to do it so he wouldn't be a sissy. That's how he was. And then once I got older, I got hungry for more. I lost my marriage with that because I was married for 20 years and just kept on fooling around and got caught, get busted. It ain't worth it. It is not worth it because there ain't shit out there.
Wow. Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Anthony, you're my last caller. Really quickly, brother. 30 seconds or less.
All right, Joe, to finish up what I was saying, you learn more about appreciating a woman once you get sent to prison. Once you get sent to prison and you be without it, and once you get out, you're looking for your main woman. But you don't want to get mixed up in the crowd no more.
Wow. Hey, appreciate the call. Thanks for the point, the bit of information. Let me just leave you guys with this, because we're wrapping up the show right now. I tell my son, because I always got to go to my son, because this dude's a work in progress. I love him to death. He's doing big things, and I'm trying to keep him on the right path. I tell him, you are the architect of your own life. And the only way to build the life you want to live is you have to be able to take inventory of the tools you have. And I said, those tools, come in different packages, as it pertains to, your scholarly endeavors. You got to be organized. You got to have your classes organized. As it pertains to your athletic endeavors, you got to train, you got to practice, you got to focus, you got to be determined, you got to be disciplined. As it pertains to the knowledge of who you are, you got to know what your communication style is. You got to know what your weaknesses are. You got to know what your psychological thresholds are. And I know this is a lot for a 14-year-old, but I share my flaws with him. And I share, my pitfalls and the things that I've done. And I say, man, look at me as a blueprint of what not to do. Right? I got 3 children, and my youngest is with another woman outside of my 2 oldest, and I tell him, hey, man, you don't want child support. You don't want constant bickering. And I said, a lot of this came upon me because of, my misappropriation of my sexual prowess, bruh. My penis. I was thinking with that head instead of the intellect that God endowed me with. So, I'm just urging all the people that are out there to understand that celibacy can be used, or abstinence can be used as a tool to redirect your energy, to redirect your power into something constructive, into something meaningful, into something with purpose. We can't continue to do what we've been doing as a community. If you look at our communities, if America is sick, the African American community is on its deathbed. We're on a respirator. So if we want to do better, we've got to start with self. We got to stop blaming people, and we got to start taking assessment of the tools that we have. And if we need some, we got to share them. We got to get them and share them. Each one teach one. I'm ZoWilliams, the voice of reason, and I enjoyed everybody. Please go to ZoWilliams.com. All my callers, all the Twitters, tweets, and all of that stuff. Please follow me at ZoWilliams. Go to ZoWilliams.com. It's important that you leave comments. It's important that you visit my site. Hey, I'm getting ready to do a tour, a HBCU tour, a black college tour. It's going to be crazy. If you want to participate, go to ZoWilliams.com. Hey, I enjoy everybody. I will see you next week. Let's get busy. Holla.